One of the strangest things about neuropathy is that the answer usually isn't to move less. It feels like it should be. When your feet tingle, when they burn, when they feel strangely numb, the natural instinct is to protect them by doing as little as possible. Seems sensible. Unfortunately, your muscles didn't get that memo. The less they work, the less support they provide. Balance becomes a little less reliable. Walking becomes a little less confident. And before long, your legs start acting like two co-workers who've decided they're no longer speaking to each other. Here's the good news. That doesn't mean you should push through pain. It means you need to choose movements that remind your feet, ankles, and legs to work together again. In today's video, 5 simple exercises can help improve strength, mobility, and stability if you're living with neuropathy. One of them looks almost too small to matter, until you realize it wakes up one of the first muscles many people stop using. And another can make every step feel more controlled without ever asking you to jump, squat deeply, or punish your joints. We used to focus almost entirely on the nerve itself. The fascinating part is that your muscles, joints, and balance system are still very much part of the conversation. They're waiting for an invitation to participate again. Let's begin with the smallest movement. It might also be the most important. Exercise 1 toe lifts and toe presses. Let's start with a movement so small that most people underestimate it. Until they try it. Sit comfortably with both feet flat on the floor. Keep your heels planted and lift your toes as high as you comfortably can. Lower them, then reverse the movement by pressing the toes gently into the floor while allowing the front of the foot to engage. It doesn't look impressive, neither does brushing your teeth. But skip that for a week and people start noticing. This movement wakes up the small muscles across the front of the foot and shin. Those muscles help your foot clear the ground as you walk, reducing the chance of catching your toes on rugs, uneven pavement, or that mysterious corner of the coffee table that somehow keeps moving. If lifting the toes feels difficult, reduce the range and simply think about the movement. Even the attempt is valuable. Once it becomes easy, hold the lifted position for 2 or 3 seconds before lowering. Keep your core gently engaged, breathe normally, and avoid gripping the chair with your shoulders. Here's something I wish more people knew. Tiny muscles often have surprisingly important jobs. We tend to celebrate the big muscles because they're easier to see. Meanwhile, these little ones quietly keep you upright all day, without asking for applause. The payoff? Walking starts feeling a little smoother. Your foot begins clearing the ground with more confidence instead of shuffling forward. Now let's move a little farther up the chain. Exercise 2 heel raises if your calves had a ursum. Keeping you upright would probably be listed somewhere near the top. Stand behind a sturdy chair or countertop and lightly hold on for balance. Slowly rise onto your toes. Pause for a moment, then lower your heels with control. The lowering part matters just as much as the lifting. Gravity is already very good at bringing you back down. It doesn't need additional assistance. Compared with simply taking more steps every day, heel raises directly strengthen the muscles that help propel you forward and stabilize your ankles. Need an easier version? Lift both heels together while using a little more support from the chair. Ready for the next level? Shift a little more weight onto one leg, but only if you remain steady throughout the movement. Keep your belly button gently drawn inward, breathe out as you rise, and stop before fatigue changes your form. The payoff shows up in everyday life surprisingly quickly. Climbing stairs, stepping onto a curb, or standing in line for longer periods often feels more stable. But here's the interesting question. If your feet contain dozens of muscles, why do numbness and balance problems keep getting worse even when those muscles seem fine? The answer is hiding inside the next exercise. Exercise 3, the short foot exercise. Researchers have been looking at whether the tiny muscles inside your feet play a role in neuropathy symptoms, not just balance. These muscles sit alongside the small nerves that are often affected first. When they're regularly activated through gentle movement and foot exercises, they may help improve circulation, keep the tissues healthier, and provide sensory input that encourages the nervous system to stay engaged, while they won't reverse nerve damage. Some studies suggest that targeted foot exercises can help reduce symptoms such as tingling, improve foot function, and make walking feel more comfortable over time. That's why these small, often overlooked muscles are getting more attention in neuropathy rehabilitation. This is one of my favorite parts of the human body because it's so easy to overlook. We spend years buying shoes with more support, while the muscles inside the foot quietly think, well, I guess we're off duty now. They're remarkably adaptable, but they do appreciate being invited back to work. Sit or stand with your foot flat on the floor. Without curling your toes, gently pull the ball of your foot toward your heel, as if you're trying to shorten your foot. The arch should lift slightly, but your toes stay relaxed. If that's difficult, practice while sitting. Once you can hold it comfortably for 5 seconds, try it standing. Keep your core softly engaged. Breathe naturally, and avoid gripping the floor with your toes. It looks like almost nothing is happening. Your feet would politely disagree. Within a few weeks, some people begin to notice subtle changes. Their feet may feel a little more awake, the tingling may become less distracting, and they may feel more confident when standing or walking. These exercises won't repair damaged nerves, but they might help improve circulation, sensory awareness, and the way your feet communicate with your brain, all of which can support better foot function over time. Now that you've started waking up those small muscles and sensory pathways, it's time to teach your ankles how to respond when the ground beneath you isn't perfectly flat. Exercise 4, ankle circles. Healthy ankles aren't just strong, they're adaptable. And that's exactly what this movement trains. Sit comfortably and lift one foot slightly off the floor. Slowly draw large circles with your ankle in one direction. Then reverse the movement. Imagine you're tracing the edge of a dinner plate with your toes. Compared with simply flexing your foot up and down, ankle circles encourage the joint to move through multiple directions, helping maintain mobility and coordination. If lifting your leg is uncomfortable, keep your heel lightly on the floor and make smaller circles. For more challenge, perform the movement while standing and lightly holding a chair for balance. Keep your core gently engaged, breathe steadily, and make the circles smooth rather than fast. Funny how the ankle usually gets our attention only after it decides to file a formal complaint. The payoff is subtle but meaningful. Everyday movements begin feeling less stiff and more controlled, setting the stage for the final exercise that brings your feet, legs, and balance together. Exercise 5, the tandem walk. This exercise brings everything together. Strong feet are helpful. Mobile ankles are helpful. But your brain still has to coordinate them every time you take a step. And the better that communication becomes, the more it may help reduce some of the everyday symptoms of neuropathy, like tingling, numbness, and uncertainty with each step. That's exactly what the tandem walk trains. Stand near a countertop or sturdy wall for support if needed. Place one foot directly in front of the other, so the heel of your front foot gently touches the toes of the foot behind it. Walk forward slowly for 8 to 10 controlled steps, then turn around and repeat. Compared with simply walking around the house, this movement asks your balance system to pay much closer attention, helping improve coordination from your feet all the way up through your hips. If this feels challenging, leave a small gap between your feet. Once you can complete the walk comfortably, gradually narrow the gap or reduce how much you rely on your hand for support. Keep your core gently engaged. Look ahead instead of down and breathe naturally. If you feel unsteady, stop and use more support rather than pushing through. Here's the encouraging thing. Neuropathy doesn't always mean your symptoms have to stay the same forever. Gentle, consistent movement may help your nervous system use the signals it still has more effectively. And for some people, that means less noticeable tingling and greater confidence with each step.